The box is going to be massive value, so that's one reason why you take it over the Nautilus, because you're not looking to engage as a support in this case with the Aphelios. You just want to make sure the Aphelios has more distance between the engaged champions KT are having, because you already have a great front line in Gnar, Poppy, Galio. You're very happy to just be like, okay, as long as Aphelios lives for 3 seconds longer, we might win this in the mid game, especially when Aphelios hits his 2-item spike.
Yeah.
Just don't let Zeri get fed. That's the name of the game here.
I do think that KT's draft is like 600 times better than it was in comparison in game number 1. And we'll see whether they can do it again as we hop into game number 2. Thank you very much, Joe Marsh, for the drum roll, quite literally, as we hop into this game. Very interested to see whether it's going to work out here for KT this time with a much more coherent draft, or whether it's just going to be the Carrier show. Like, sometimes Carrier just picks Thresh, and you can't win the game. He just outplays you at every single turn, lands every single hook, gets everyone out of any sort of bit of danger ever. And of course, Steadfast Presence not going to be there for KT. It is on T1's side of the rift. You're not going to be able to deny these lanterns very effectively, unless, you know, Cuz just presses R or something like that.
Yeah, and I don't think Vikla is going to be building Everfrost. I think he will be building Ludens into damage this game. And with the Scion pick, like, you could have, of course, done Tank Rise here, but you probably would have gone for a more middle-of-the-road top laner. And the Scion here just kind of says, all engage, all CC, all tanky. I don't need any, you know, tanky stats in the mid lane. As Vikla obviously is going to have a lot of power here in the early parts of this, especially if he harasses well. But similarly, Faker loves playing the Galio into the Rise. It's his favorite counterpick for Rise, his favorite counterpick for TF. We see it all the time.
Yep.
So it's a matchup he's very comfortable with, even if it is going to cost him some early prio.
Yeah, absolutely. You can always follow the Rise if he's going to try and Realm Warp, especially early, just because the ranges are somewhat similar on the heroic entry.
And the plates.
Yeah.
However, there's not a lot of control here around the Rift Herald for KT at the same time. The Arbar for Zeus just expired.
Yeah, so it does mean that KT do deny these plates, as Ona did actually move away from the Rift Herald. I was actually wondering, having a look at the minimap there, whether they still had aggro on this Rift Herald. And now Faker does have the inside track on that mid lane, and you can see things are just too dark for KT to move on forward. Gumushi and Carrier taking care of this mid lane, and as far as the macro play, this is looking very, very nice for T1. But still, Cuz lurking. Could be a 50-50, but Faker can just get in front of this Skarner, and that means that he just cannot get in here.
As soon as they see Guma, KT are like, all right, that's it. Amy's going back down to try to grab a plate, because we are just not going to win this fight. I think they probably could have made this call earlier, but they did not know for sure. They did not know for absolute certain whether Guma was going to be there or not.
Point for T1. They haven't been able to find as many resources for him to allow him to pop off. And it feels like that has been a big change as Carrier going to flash on over, looks for Vikla here. The hook is going to land onto a minion. Well-placed minion wave there by Vikla. As a Gnar into the wall, and Zeus is looking for a solo kill. House comes down, and yeah, the train has to immediately leave the station as Rascal's going to have to go home.
So Vikla loses his flash, Rascal loses his ult, aiming very far forward here. This could be a Herald drop if they win this fight.
Yeah, Cuz moves on over, and that was a little bit dangerous there, because Ona could have been impaled and brought underneath the turret, as Rascal actually stopped the back. Nice little cue there, and the Ignite coming out as well from Rascal, just trying to deter Zeus from doing anything more. Final chapter comes down. Ona is moving in though. The box comes through from Carrier, and that should be able to keep them safe, but Realm Warp is going to augment this play. Cuz moving forward, heroic charge to taxi them out, and there's the ult. No Skarner for you is now aiming. He's trying to fight this one out. First blood goes to Gumayushi, as Vikla was way too far forward, and finally Cuz turns back up, but there is just no fight to be had here. To flash forward though, and Cuz is trying to get something done against his former teammate. They will be able to even out the kills. The Gumayushi picking up that first blood, I think, is the bigger deal.
Yeah, unfortunately, aiming is also not going to be the one to get the kill. The kill goes over to Cuz here, so a little bit less gold in his pocket because it's a split kill between 3 members. So not even a ton of gold. It's actually a 3-split assist that he picks up there. It will lead to a Drake taken here for KT Rolls, but once again, T1 in so much tempo control of this game, and I think the idea to try to even go for that follow-up there was extremely greedy for KT. Vikla just kind of nose-dove into the turret. Unfortunately, doesn't have Everfrost, isn't even going to build
from. It's just them getting the shove in so many of these lanes.
Topside especially.
Yeah, and this is the T1 that we've, come to expect. Is now Hex Flash is going to get channeled here by Cuz. He's going to be able to get the smite down, and he's got a Yuumi as well. The Wallop is going to stop Zeus from being pulled back too far, but he's real dead, guys. Does manage to get the turret, so he can actually say worth if he would like to, as the train is going to come on over and look to stop Faker here. A little bit of damage.
Notice that Zeus just casually takes a sip of coffee. He's like, yep, unfortunately I wasn't able to finish my call at this moment in time, but I will take all of that first turret money, plus the plates I picked up. Call's about to complete. I'm going to have more money in my pocket. You guys have spent so many resources topside that mid is controlled by us, bottom is controlled by us, and this feels like one of those solo queue games. This is why top can be so miserable to play in solo queue, where you're like, oh, I picked a weak side champion, but my team also has a weak side bot, but like it's solo queue, and players are just going to pick their one tricks, and that's just how it is, and I'm playing Sion because I'm a Sion one trick. Rascal is not a Sion one trick, but his team hasn't been able to facilitate anything else on the other side of the map, and as a result, if you're not going to be able to dominate lane as this rise into Faker, your value is so low. Obviously, Aphelios here. Without 2 items here, Guma doesn't feel great with his Gale Force. Like, I think T1 should be willing to give this one up, but they're not. They're going to fight for it. Faker's in a good spot here, has his flash. We know what he can do with that flash taunt.
They've done a lot of damage to this Drake already. It will be secured, but can KT find the team fight? Faker on a ward right now, but the rest of T1 will just evacuate the area. Realm Warp's going to come down. Zeus is likely just going to be the sacrificial Nah here, and he will. That's a kill over to aiming, though, and KT are probably pretty happy with that situation.
Yeah, that's actually pretty massive for them. But T1 have also maintained Drake parity now, which is one way. Okay, hold on.
All right, that is a big old flash impale, but Cuz can just go absolutely nowhere. The hook from Kerio is too good, and that means the Skana will go down immediately. Rascal still trying to run at them, but he's just going to find no value. And Cuz, unfortunately, has just looked a little bit silly this series.
I feel like in game 1, I liked a lot of what he did in the early game. He got aiming that kill. This game, obviously hasn't been able to maintain the control we would have liked. Didn't actually help Rascal out, and this play in particular looked very silly because he's doing this into a comp that has taunt. Like, they have so much peel.
And just kind of dies. Okay, Hex Flash gets him over the wall here as Aiming's trying to get these minions as best he can, but the Impale's once again going to come down. Owner is just going to heroically charge his way out of there, though, as Vikla does go golden. Owner's still alive somehow, as Rascal is a brick wall in the front line. He gets hooked back once again as the carrier show has began, and the Scion will be taken down. Grumusha says, thanks for that kill. But now Zeus and Faker in a little bit of trouble. Nah, not going to quite find the wallet value there because we'll, pardon me, lock down that kill, and then Cuz is immediately going to go down. Zeus, once again, the sacrificial Nah, but T1 this time will trade up.
They knock aiming away, he can't follow up. Like, he actually cannot chase them there. He looked extremely immobile in this fight. If he's able to get over the wall there, extendo beam, and chase down 3 players who are essentially dead there, he'll grab 2 extra kills probably. Unfortunately, he's not able to do so. Cuz isn't able to actually lock anybody down there. He dies at the end of all things, and it feels like even in the best possible fights here for KT, they just cannot pull it together.
As T1 now have approximately a 2,000 gold lead, that will be eased a little, as Vikla should be able to take down this top outer turret. Faker is not super psyched about it, but still not going to be able to stop it. As okay, ghosting forward here is Vikla. Does get the Rune Prison down. Faker taking a lot of damage. The minion wave actually helping Vikla out here as Faker has to use his Zhonya's. There's a Realm Warp as Vikla is going to get knocked out of that one. He's going to, die on his own terms, but it's a 1-for-1 in the end as Aiming's doing a bit of work here to this outer turret, but otherwise not too much.
Like, you're fishing so hard, Vikla, for this one, and he has Realm Warp available, so the idea is, okay, I'm just going to Realm Warp out. Like, cool guys don't look at dead Faker, but Faker just looks at you and knocks you out of your Realm Warp, and you're fighting and forcing this on a turret. He could have just been happy to walk away.
Yeah.
And would have been way better off for it. His carry is going to take a ton of damage, and this is going to be a Drake given over to KT. But this is what we were talking about with T1 evening up the Drakes and just escaping and getting away with it. Means they bought so much extra time. Like, this is not KT now threatening Hextech Soul. They're just sitting on 2 Drakes, so it feels way better now for T1.
As KT, now with Rascal that has, his Crossfire Gauntlet completed, he's got 3,000 health. He's starting to become that brick wall as they will just be able to walk up to this outer turret in the mid lane and take it down, catching T1 on a reset just a little bit, as they do have vision control of this Baron area, but it's not exactly a whole lot, as this control ward will be taken down, and now T1's going to have to get back there. As Vikla on this blue buff. Does have flash, so he's not going to be dying right now. Picks the juke beautifully, does Carrier, as now Vikla feeling a bit silly for not flashing earlier. Zayat's going to take a lot of damage though, as Aiming's going to turn up. Picks up his first kill. Now Ona's next on the menu. Gumushi decides that he just doesn't want to be in the fight, as it's a double for the Zeri. Make it a triple and make that a Baron on top.
And Guma is just, he cannot be here. It's too risky for him to be here. He's on a low range of Aphelios. It doesn't have an ultimate, so he's over on the side, and they go a little bit too deep here trying to grab a pick. And yeah, Vikla, if he flashes the hook, he survives, and this is even better for them. But either way, they're just caught as they're too far forward there in a choke point where Aiming is going to get so much value and now money out of this team fight. As T1 looked to try to get a pick to set up for Baron, they had complete control of the choke point starting out, but they didn't have to force this. Now Guma is going to play a greedy move down here and grab an inhibitor turret, which is going to be a lot of money into his pocket as well. Can he escape? I think the answer will be yes.
They are on control vision, but it is just going to be KT electing to go back home, buy some items. That is 3 for the... This guy was 5-0 on the Zeri. Not only is Zeri extraordinarily strong just in general, but aiming pretty good at being reliable in the late game on this champion. And he now has these 3 items completed.
Their comp with the Yuumi and the Sion in choke points like that, where you funneled in as T1, like, they're just giving KT all of their comp strengths all in one pretty, nicely wrapped up package, and putting a bow on top of it and saying like, all right, well, now you are 5-0, 700 gold bounty on your head. And, T1 with this Baron buff against them won't be able to wrap around, won't be able to set up flanks, won't be able to look for a Galio taunt angle here for FAKER, who's falling significantly far behind in experience.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, this is the siege angle for Zeri as well, which is pretty big.
Yeah, extended beam's a pretty silly ability. Or electroshock cannon, if you want me to use the correct term. But
nobody wants you to use
I
that.
won't use that ever again, even though it does sound kind of cool.
Somebody said
casually sidestep.
Somebody said Avengerang on Sunday, and I was...
That was me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know it's very silly. I should have just stuck to the heroic swing, right? And comeuppance. What a great name for an... Yeah, Akshan is a little bit split when it comes to cool names. Gumushi is out of the fight, if there is one.
And FAKER, I mean, he's got teleport, but there's no wards for him to go on. Minus the one, of course, on the river there to the left side, which is now going to be cleared up. But besides that, like, if you lose control of the map against this Zeri, who has 3 items now, is going to get a 4th one fairly soon, it's a problem. And now it's soul point, so the time you bought earlier doesn't matter as much anymore. And the win conditions here for T1 are so complex now. They have to win a perfect team fight. They have to punish KT. They have to somehow lock this Zeri down. She has Cleanse. And because she has Cleanse available, and Mikhail's, by the way, definitely one way to win this game straight up. Zayas is Narabar, man.
Well, Amy's just diving forward. FAKER has to go golden immediately, and the ulti does nothing from Ona, but the lantern placement was fantastic. Now Zayas trying to get himself out, but does so with a hop into crush combo. And KT, they have control of the river, but T1 keep everyone alive.
Now T1 need to rush back over here and deny this if they're going to contest. Unfortunately, they just won't have a Narabar here for Zayas. He does have teleport. He's going to try to actually get it on the bottom side of the map and come back. He's not going to back.
Oh,
Aiming.
Dear. Carrier is going to land the hook onto Aiming, but he is just going to die for it. They did need to check this. Zayas is on the bottom side. He does have teleport, but I don't think that he's going to be able to do anything to try and get over here and stop this Baron. It's going to be the second one going to KT unless Ona can get in there and make this one happen. He does have the flash. He gets into the pit, but he's way too early. They didn't have the vision available. He had to try and take a gamble, and Aiming's just going to be able to pick up the kill. Inner turret goes down, but that is not quite enough to even out the trade here as KT will take their second Baron.
KT's comp is so oppressive when they have a lead, and we saw one of the main reasons why, in fact, KT were able to start this Baron up and actually get a proper team fight, or like deny a proper team fight because they had so much of the control over the map, was because of the fact that Rascal is just sitting down there and Zayas is trying to side lane against him, but they are not grouped up. And the one pull was bottom side where they're looking to maybe take an inner turret out. KT were way better grouped up, had the insane wave cleared siege in mid, and they're like, yeah, okay, Sion is going to lose half his health bar, but it's fine, he's got teleport. So Rascal can just show up at a moment's notice. Zayas has it as well here, but he's so reliant on his Narabar. Without it, they cannot team fight. Once again, it's going to be used here early, so This is a really tough fight to take for T1, but they have to.
Well, in comes the train as the Realm Walk's going to come over as well as Rascal almost gets on top of Gumayushi. That's a phenomenal ultimate from Ona, though. And he is going to be able to get rid of the Scion immediately. Zeus actually taking a lot of damage, and Rascal, he's so tanky. They do manage to get the taunt. There's the Everfrost. Now he's at 50%. This fight's been going on for quite some time. Is aiming now going to take him... I felt very dangerous there going through the Hex Gate, but it will be the Hextech Soul. Moonlight Vigil comes down though with Gumayushi, takes matters into his own hands and immediately gets flattened. There is the ultimate out from Cuz as well. The Impale is going to mean the end of the Poppy. Gets his revenge there against the Poppy in the end. Viklas flashing forward. Zeus is going to go down, and I think KT will just end the game right here.
Oh man, Rascal's over there 1v4 because there's just no one who can damage him outside of Guma and Zeus. Zeus is actually caught on the other side of the fight, and they're looking to end it. We are going to a game 3 here, Atlas. Rascal is going to that location of the rift as well. He's going to slam into the wall, but we are going to a game 3, and T1 fall behind in the mid game. One single team fight, one overextension. KT take all the control of the map with that Baron, turn into a second Baron, and aiming redeems himself on the Zeri this time around.
Yeah, really showing that the denial of the Zeri Yuumi was very important in game number 1 as far as the Zeri's power level.